Welcome back to FM26, episode number 3, where I am determined to have fun at any cost. I have the editor. I will use the editor. I have used the editor and will continue to do so as necessary to keep this thing alive. Our expenses remain $8 million per month. The entire stadium upgrade was supposed to cost the club $4.5 million. The city was going to cover an additional cost of $3.7 million, and that was the entirety of the expense. Now, in the meantime, while the stadium upgrade is happening, there is the cost of renting another stadium in town, which one could only assume that for 9 months, I'll even round up to 10 for really easy math for you, that's about $20K per month, or across 10 months, $200,000. Other expenses can occur during this time. We're talking about maybe $1 million over the course of the year. Remember, we made $9 million in profit last year, quite easily. Nothing has changed except for this whole new stadium thing, and yet we went from making nearly $1 million a month to losing $8 million a month. Virtually a $10 million swing, or 9 plus. So I'm going to maintain a positive balance, maintain a $5 million balance for the duration of the construction of the stadium, and fingers crossed that the finances will be fixed once that happens and we move into the new stadium. I hate to have to manipulate the finances, but if it's broke, you got to fix what's broke. Additionally, we should be making a lot more money than we even were prior, because our salaries have decreased by $250,000 per week. So pretty healthy change. I have also restored our facilities to the level 1s that they were, and for the sake of the series, I might here start to manipulate some form of growth at a reasonable, expectable rate, as the board has been completely uncooperative so far. And that wasn't my issue, but if we're going to have to deviate from natural occurrences, I might as well deviate in a way to progress the series along. Let's play. Our season opener is just ahead of us this weekend, but we actually already played our first competitive game of the season last weekend with our first ever club victory in the FA Cup. So we are set to kick off the season in our temporary stadium, much larger than what we are accustomed to from last season, and more than twice the size of the one that we are expanding into here once construction is done. Now, what I have found over the preseason is, yes, we do have a competitive squad, but not a very good squad. We are still picked to be dead last this season, 300-1 odds on winning the league, and favorites for relegation once again. We find ourselves in an identical setup of last year, 22 teams in the league, with the bottom 4 all facing relegation. We're going to have to take things game at a time and see how often we can get results, see how helpful managing the squad is going to be for us. We are still going to be slow. We're still off pace. Our biggest weakness is center mid, and the fact that we have no backup goalkeeper. We very much lack depth. We have 10 players that can play. If you add in the one center back who's a backup, who's decent, You could make an argument that we have 11. Colwell makes a move, cuts inside, beats his man, hits the underside of the crossbar that should have hit it and slipped through. It didn't. It bounced back off of it. And we don't have our first league goal of the season just yet, but it's a great sign as Smith Sim comes out, picks that ball up before they can get on the end of it. With a sellout crowd, we should start to make more money, but again, that $8 million that came out of nowhere. Great through ball, Huxtable chips the goalkeeper. Keeper had nothing about that one. I don't think he was close enough to the line that I don't think the chip necessarily would have worked, but it was too high anyway. Colwell loses the ball. Dean starts a counter, and we force him backwards. One thing about our squad right now is tactical familiarity is there now, but the players still have not gelled as we again try to chip the keeper, put that one in the upper corner with no power behind it, and Griffiths makes a simple reaction to poke it up and then catch it. That was well placed, but zero power whatsoever. Jones lays it off for Greaves. Kind of halts the process instead of taking the dribble himself. Right. That's deflected and cleared. No idea how a cross ended up going 40 yards the wrong direction. I don't think I've ever seen a deflection go that far the opposite direction of where it was directed. Jones, long ball ahead to Huxtable. He's going to beat the D. The keeper was well outside of the box. Could have been a good occasion for a touch, but Huxtable tries to volley it up over the keeper and pushed it high and wide. Kilgore forces the turnover. Renshaw had Huxtable on the through. Couldn't get it there. Jones goes back to Greaves, but Greaves couldn't get on the end of it, and they're going to end up clearing that out of bounds for the throw. We look very good here. It's only the 15th minute, and we've been very close to scoring multiple times already. 5 attempts, 0.48 on the XG. Almost 70% possession, but this looks like the first corner kick for Barr. Who is Barr? It's somebody. I forgot who we're playing against. Oh, Barnstapletown. There's your reminder. Out of nowhere, against the run of play, Barnstaple has got a goal. Kilgore cleared the corner kick away. Savage recovered back into the corner kick man, Rogers, who took a simple touch, and Smith Sim should have done better with that one. Looks like it went off his shoulder. So with no freaking XG, with no sign of an offense in the first 20 minutes, while we've absolutely dominated, we trail. Bad foul there. Ferrier, Arndale had got a piece of it the first time, but the guy poked it past him, so he had to make a second effort at it, and that lunge was too far. Savage lays it off. Ellicott not threatening Smith Sim there. Well, suddenly they are in the game after not being in it previously. And other than an onside or foul in that situation, whatever set up that free kick, we haven't really done anything in the last 10 minutes. Greaves picks up a yellow. Ellicott, is that... No, that's not. That's not our right back from last season. I doubt any of those guys are getting signed. Once they scout them, they'll realize. Old scout reports won't match. Huxtable does win that header, but he's got no help, no support, and pushing the header ahead instead of bringing it down or laying it off didn't do him any good. Really? Fry's going to get a yellow card for arguing with the ref on that one. Not for the foul, because there was no foul. The dissent is what got him a card. Or if there was a foul, it was barely a nudge anyway. Sullivan, great touch there Dangerous position. It looks like we have decently recovered, but he keeps possession long enough to find a teammate who takes a shot, swings through, and it went just over the bar. Oh, dangerous ball there. That looked like it was headed out, but it ends up being held in by the fullback. Now in possession, back to right. There's Greaves on a yellow. We've already got 3 yellow cards still in the first half here. Jones. Nice. Beats his man. Lays it off inside for Renshaw. And that's the weak link. Renshaw is that one player on the roster who is quite a bit below the level of the others. There's finally a foul. And finally a card for Barnstaple. Kilgore, plenty of space to work with. They are not pressuring him at all in that interior line. Right, Jones? That inside space is pretty good. At least it was there until we got a little forward. Huxtable gets a big chance. Offside flag goes up. Looked like it was good. Colwell tries to cut inside his man, loses the ball. Looked like he got a little knee-to-knee, but he did get ball there first. Fry could have brought that down, but it forwards it to Kilgore. A couple crosses later, Colwell recovers. Renshaw, now Kilgore again. I'm liking how Kilgore is finding space, but that is the halftime whistle, trailing 1-0. And on balance, we have much more possession. We have triple the XG that they have, while we do have the same number of shots. Positives: we're outplaying them for the most part. We're very competitive. The negative: they scored a goal against our out of play, then picked up some momentum there for a little while before we regained it. We're going to need to carry through, continue the second half the way we did the first half, but not give up a goal and see if we can at least get an equalizer to secure a point. Subs will have to come fairly early on with those 3 yellow cards. We've got a ref who's very yellow card happy. Almost every foul has provided a yellow card in this game. Long clearance there. Good header. Renshaw lays it off to Kilgore. Again, Kilgore always in space. There's Greaves. Long ball ahead. Huxtable well offside. And this is going to turn into their highlight. Come on, it's 1 on 6. 1 on 5. Now 2 on 6. Are we getting called for a... It's outside the box. It's outside the box. And no following highlight. They weren't able to do anything with it. Jeez, for a second I thought that was inside the box. Okay, time for a sub. Time for a sub. I don't think I have a sub for you, but after that foul, we have no choice. Kalis is going to have to come on, even though this is not his position. But we lack options. Okay, that's cleared away. Is it cleared away? Oh, man. There we go. Woo. Ball suspended in air, defying the laws of physics. We're having fun, though. We are having fun. Smith Sim, after that, was out for a goal kick. So we've made that first substitution on the guy in danger of a second yellow. Overall, team's played all right. Great cutout by Jones, but he's going to take it himself and goes a little too high. Catches the top of the roof of the net. Jones getting in possession here, right? Now Kilgore. Colwell beats his man, takes to the outside, back to the inside, finds plenty of space, but hangs that cross too much. Gives defense time to get to it and head it away. Great through ball, Jones! Can't connect well on that one, and easy goal kick decision, as that was nowhere near the target and no one near blocking it. Huxtable in possession. Greaves back to Jones. Jones in space again, but had a couple of defenders on him, so he had to turn around. Jones through ball to Huxtable, little too long. Time frame just 10 minutes into the second half, and we are looking dangerous. That long clearance. They're going to get on the end of it, and we're going to... Wow, that is super dangerous right there. Oh, it's offside. Right. Back to Greaves. Jones. Huxtable turns. That was blocked? Yes, corner kick. Okay, pause, pause, pause. Time to start changing up the tactics. 1, we have to be attacking. We're down a goal. They're going to expect that. They're going to go more defensive anyway. Okay, 2, it's time to make a double sub. We have a center back, and we have an attacking mid. Lofren can play on the left. We'll put in Maloney. We will start with that. Get those yellow cards out of there. Now no danger of dropping to 10 men. Oh, that's a foul. Okay, that got called. Held back, pulled off the ball. And yellow card for Stelmack. That's their second. We're kicking a dangerous spot. He's not a goalkeeper, but he's wearing a goalkeeper jersey. Sullivan was well offside anyway, had he gotten to that first. That's Henschel, our center back. That is not a goalkeeper. Right. Was that a shot or a cross? Can't tell. You'll have to ask him after the game. During the press conference. Anybody got reporters' credentials? Hopefully somebody can let me know what he was thinking there. Because I certainly don't know what he was thinking there. Okay, obviously we've pushed to more attacking, and more changes will come in terms of instructions here shortly. Nice interception, Jones! One-on-one with the keeper! Oh, he's got the save. Jones never made a move left or right. Looks like he hinted at a move to the right there to try to flank the keeper, and just never did. Renshaw! Ooh, that looked like an arm. Looked like an arm to block that one. Wow, that was so close. That was our chance, folks. Huxtable might have been offside. Keeper blocked that anyway, and that's going to go. It was offside. All right, on to the instructions. We're going to go much higher on tempo. We'll go standard instead of work ball into the box. I love work ball into the box at these lower levels, though. Let's try for the whipped crosses. Okay, we're already set for a high press. We're going to go much higher with our defensive line. We're going to trigger much more often. We're going to get stuck in. Nobody's on a yellow right now. We need that ball back. And we're going to tell our defensive line to step up and play the offside trap. Renshaw finds Colwell out wide. Needs help, needs support. Finds the cut in. Lays it off for Jones. Huxtable, now right. Maloney, back to Huxtable. No, it's cleared. Defense gets there first. Colwell with the cross. Jones can't get on the end of it. Defense winning those clearances. Maloney gets a chance. Has absolutely no power on it. Colwell inside. End of highlight. Okay, we are starting to dominate play. Let's go very attacking. That's going to be out for a goal kick. Win, lose, or draw today, this is encouraging that the team is very much in this game and ultimately has outplayed the opponent. Maloney. Nice play there. Jones. Maloney. Give and go. Held back by the defender, only for the other to come and clear. That's a tough call to get, though, under those circumstances. Would have been a yellow card if it were called. Maloney gets inside, gets to his man, looks for that simple cross to the teammate, but can't get it to him. Nobody else moved well enough to slot into the space. Otherwise, that would have been a golden opportunity. Colwell went to where the ball was going to be and not to where the ball was. So defense ends up getting there first. Now they're possessing well. Where's this press of ours? There it is, just overrunning and not doing anything, but Colwell recovers well. Working it out to the outside. Maloney finds Huxtable. Huxtable gets a good shot off. Well placed. Flag goes up. That was offside. That was another one that looked like it was okay. It looked like he was onside when he started his run, but maybe not. It was pretty tight. Could have gone either way. Ooh, for a second, I thought Huxtable was going to cut that out. There's that overplay. Offside. No, they're giving a free kick. Wow. A, offside. B, it didn't look like a foul. Did not look like a foul. Wright gets the yellow for holding him. That was probably just my bias. It's probably a foul. Maloney beats his man. Well done. But goes for the high cross. Colwell's going to get on the end of it, but outside the box. Lays it up for Renshaw. And there's the equalizer. We have the equalizer. Yes, we do. Okay, we're going to drop to positive. I think we're going to keep most of the instructions. We're just going to keep some guys behind the ball. And it's Renshaw, the weak man. But luckily he's got a defender or center back in front of the keeper who's blocking Griffith's view. But even if he isn't blocking the view, Griffith's not able to get anything on that. Colwell into space. Through for Huxtable. Way too much on that ball. Way too much. It needed to be a much more shallow ball, and Huxtable would have had a great chance there. Good clearing header. Huxtable gets there, lays it off, does his job well. Colwell beats his man. 1-on-1, and we've got a second. Back-to-back goals, just minutes apart, and we could be on our way to a 3-point day, which is exactly what you would say we deserved all along. We've been the dominant team for all but 10 minutes of this game. It is time to go balanced, and we are going to make more changes with the instructions. Let's go ahead and pause while we do so. Tempo, let's drop back down to standard. Our normal is lower. Time wasting, oh yeah. It's part of the game that I hate, but it is a part of the game. We want to be more disciplined. We want to go back to work the ball into the box. Out of possession. We are on a yellow now, and we don't need to trigger the press quite as often, and we also don't need to be like crazy here. We can go balanced. We'll go standard on the defensive line, but we'll still high press. Okay, we still have one sub window left, but there's only one player left on the bench, and it is a mid. We could actually sub out Renshaw, even though he's having a great game here. But we can use that as a late opportunity to kill just a little bit more clock. Do it right about the 90th or 91st. They might have an opportunity here. Good recovery down that flank. There's the long cross. They are going to get on the end of that. And it's out. We carried it out of bounds for a corner. Cleared away well, and Henschel's going to get on the end of it. And Huxtable off to the races, one-on-one with the keeper. Can he put this thing away? No. Griffiths, again, one-on-one, has made 2 huge saves today right off that. The first one was here, second one here. Does Griffiths palm that away? He does not. That is a goal kick. Okay, 89th minute. It's almost that time. There we go. We're into that stoppage. Let's use that last substitution. We will give Renshaw a big applause as he heads off and bring on Loughran. 4 minutes of stoppage time, plus the last 15 seconds of regulation remain. Jones, Colwell. Now we're playing keep ball. Right. Over the top for Huxtable. Huxtable takes a shot, and Griffiths. 3 massive saves today. Otherwise, this game would not be close. Could very well be 5-1 in terms of the clear-cut chances. You would expect it to be 3 or 4, if not 5. That through ball too long. Poorly played. Time's running out. We got just over 2 minutes to go. The sub has happened. Yes, Loughran's on the pitch. Colwell inside to Huxtable. Nice play there between the two. Out towards Maloney. Maloney overplays that. Should have brought it down with his chest, and instead he couldn't make up his mind. 19-12 on the shots. The XG very much favors us. The scoreline is correct now based on how the day has gone. Smith Sim clutches onto that one. Time's long since up. We are almost a minute beyond the stoppage time. Henschel, long ball ahead. We're not able to get there. They're going to get one more shot here. Nope, there's the final whistle, and we've got 3 points. The first league victory in club history, and it's a great sign that maybe, just maybe, we have enough about us to stay up this season. Those 3 points are an important start on that process. Hey, some of our numbers are actually appearing finally. This is the first time it's actually shown up and not just been a blank screen. So expenditure before was $300K a month, $3 to $350 every month. Now this one-time expenditure should have been $4.5 million on top of the $300,000. We should have had about 4.8. But there was almost $8 million extra on that. And then in the months to follow, it was still $8 million. So for a good $7.6 million monthly, more than what our expenses should. Now, we've pushed to professional, so there are going to be more expenses. But we don't have the staff. In fact, going back on this problem, we don't have staff. We have like 2 staff members left. Everybody else left at the end of the season with expiring contracts, uninterested in signing new ones. And I can't sign anybody new because the salaries that we are permitted by the board to offer are based on semi-pro salaries. Nobody wants semi-pro pay for a professional side, full-time versus part-time. So we've been unable to sign anybody. So our staff expenses are actually really low. And if we look at a breakdown of last month, there's player salaries, loyalty bonuses, staff salaries, non-soccer costs, director emoluments is barely anything. The director is getting paid. Ground maintenance, there it is, $7.8 million in ground maintenance. What did I say? 7.8? There's your 7.8. That's exactly it right there. A total cost of $4.5 million for the stadium, and yet we are paying $7.8 million monthly right now. We will offset that $7.8 million as long as this is happening, and we'll just get beyond this point. Season's off to a great start, though, with a victory, but can we follow it up with any more? Especially can assistant coach, which actually we don't even have one. I think it's our director of youth football who's serving as the assistant coach right now, as we only have, like I said, a couple staff members. Can they lead the team towards any sort of victories? Speaking of leading the team towards any sort of success, decision making has gone up by 2 points now for scoring. Anticipation has gone up by a point. Leadership went up by a point. Off the ball has gone up by the point. He's gained 5 attribute points. But one thing that's holding him back is the simple fact that he has a determination of 1. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into development, raising your abilities of coaching staff is a very clear example. Your training facilities, full-time, part-time, what sort of training are you carrying out? Specifically when it comes to staff, who is doing the training sessions in the area that you are trying to develop, etc., etc. There's so many factors there. But then you have some hidden personality traits under the hood. I have not looked at them to see what we have here. But personality is balanced, which means there's a little good, a little bad. Ultimately, a balanced personality is somebody who's going to develop at an average rate. There's going to be players with great personality that will train at ultimately their maximum. And then there's going to be some really bad personality traits there that halt. But then there's a couple of attributes that are visible that do make a difference. Work rate, determination, are kind of the biggest of those. And with a determination of 1, Ben Scory's not going anywhere. I'm going to make a single attribute change, only to that one. Work rate's at, I guess, an acceptable 6. We're not going to make it a 20 or anything like that, but I'm going to give a 0 at the end of that one. See what this does for... See his potential. Oh, no, it's still... He's up to a 3. He's up to a 3. I'm not going to look closely at anybody else's. I don't want to see what their abilities are. Though we do know that Kato was, a 33? But we're just going to add a 0 to that determination at the end of it and give him at least some sort of shot to see how he develops over time. That's going to make a small difference. He's picked up 2 current ability over the course of 1 year and a month. It's over 13 months. That'll help him grow a little bit faster, but instead of 2 points, maybe he'll gain 3 or 4. I don't think he's going to be good enough to be on the field really anytime soon, and we do continue to get bids, and at some point might have to accept one. We've had a 15K bid so far this season, so it's getting higher. It's not as high as what we had last year with the 30K. His value is 26K. It's going to take at least 30K to get me to want to give him up. One of 2 teams that have been pretty active trying to offer here. Instantly, Scory is now up to a 22.5K. Now, the tricky thing about giving him a 10 here is without changing the current ability, they could actually change some of the others, and so I need to check into that. What was his recommended current ability is a 4. It's only 1 point higher. We'll change that to that 4 so that it doesn't take away attributes elsewhere. Well, the team keeps the momentum. Renshaw scoring again, and Greaves getting on the score sheet for a 2-0 victory. 2 wins to open the season, 6 points already. I didn't expect him to be finding this much success. Just a day or two after I changed Scory's determination, you can see how badly it's affecting him, even though he's got the highest potential of any player on the roster, one of the highest in the world. Ben Scory's training rating has been a 5.1, meaning he's not really developing, or barely developing, and only one other player is below a 6. In fact, only one other player is below a 6.5, so all I Duff is somebody who seems to have either a personality or determination. His determination's okay. His work rate's really poor. He's jovial. That's happy. He's happy, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to work hard. So I think his biggest thing is his work rate is holding him back from the possibility of development. But there's a number of guys who are developing quite well right now. But it's all still a process that happens pretty slow. At 16, it can happen a bit faster. So these guys are going to get better and better and be more and more competitive as the season goes on. But what we're not seeing is Kato with a very high rating. So something about him is also off. He's lighthearted. He has determination. His work rate is fairly low. So he hasn't even started developing as a player at the moment, sadly. We left off with a 2-0 victory. Following that, FA Cup, another victory against Bashley. 1-0 on the road. Progressed us in the FA Cup a little bit further. That's still in the qualifying rounds. You're not into the tournament proper just yet. Against Swindon Supermarine, we got a 1-1 draw at home. That's back in the league before we finally had our first loss of the year. The FA Cup came away with another against Larkhall, who we just lost 2-0 to. We traveled, that was at home too. Then we went on the road to play that same team, and I don't know what ended up happening with, should have gone to penalties, you would think. No, it was a replay. So we had I'm surprised we had a replay. I thought they stopped replays in the FA Cup. We were at home for the replay where it finished 2-2, and it looks like we lost on penalties. Yeah, Larkhall Athletic won on penalties. They converted 4. We only converted 2 of 4. Scott Jones and Ben Scory, who was on the pitch at the time. Of course, I put him pretty high on my list for penalty takers last season. I did not change that this season. And so that's where we're at so far in the league. So far in the league, we are mid-table with 7 points, 11th place, right at the halfway line. But we've also only played 4 matches. Mouseholes played 7 already. Many teams have played 5 or 6. We are at the bare minimum. Really, just a handful of teams have played only 4 matches so far. So, good points per match. Start to the season, really hanging in there, very much looking competitive, but certainly not a done deal. We've got a lot of season ahead of us. We're going to have to keep morale high. If it tanks, you never know what's going to happen. There is still no team cohesion, and the club atmosphere has already started to fall, which is sad because we're playing much better than what the expectations are right now. Still hierarchy with such a young group. Everybody's in the core group, which I suppose is nice, but everybody's still considered an other. There is no hierarchy right now that's established within the club, but we do have 2 decent leaders. We're headed towards certainly what I hope to be is safety, not get relegated first and foremost, but building the atmosphere within the club. Now, the next intake, which obviously is still a long ways off here, late in the year, it's going to be April, but when that next intake does come around, we're going to have to go with a fingers crossed approach of you get a decent amount of talent, 5 guys that are good enough to take over from at least the reserves, if not some of the starters that we have. But we're going to have to rebuild the cohesion and everything when that time comes, and then the weakest players are just out of the fold. And at that point, if we can hang on this season, you would think that with an improved roster, we'll hang on no problem and get that opportunity to start growing and developing and see if and when the board becomes cooperative. But in that meantime, we might make little moves, maybe 1 per year in the meantime, just to have some sort of progression. But we've hit that turn of the month, and with that $7.8 million extra, and you can see exactly where it was coming from, which was nice that the finances screen finally worked for us. We'll recover that money here. Right now, the board is actually happy with how things are going, so I think I'm going to take this opportunity to try and see if we can get the board to approve something. I think the biggest thing we need is if we're going to develop our players, we need staff to run the training sessions, and that's not something we have. So we need to increase coach salaries. I doubt it's going to go anywhere, but I'm also going to ask if we can improve youth recruitment. On improve youth coach salaries, we've reached the exact halfway point of the season. 21 played. We have 10 wins, 4 draws, and 7 losses. Enough to get us into the top half of the table. Not by a fair margin or anything, but we are comfortable, it would seem, with a +8 goal differential, and we are 14 points above the drop zone right now. It looks like all but 2 teams in the league, with Slimbridge and Swindon Supermarine, yet to presumably play each other in that first half of season tie. But otherwise, we win some, we lose some, we draw some, but we've been fairly consistently average and maybe even a little better than average. So we are hanging in there, much better than expected. We do not have ourselves a relegation battle. Now it really just comes down to the finances between now and April, keeping that from going haywire. And then we'll see where we're at after the stadium is done, whether that $7.8 million that we are paying monthly right now, that phantom cost, whether it goes away. If it does, things go back to normal. If it does, it gets a lot easier to ask the board for something when the finances aren't doing this. When the needle's moving constantly, it's really hard to get anything going. But being in 9th place is definitely making the board happier. It's just a matter of, can we get them to approve some sort of progress? If not, we'll add a point somewhere, which, by the way, in terms of facilities, where we have poor training facilities, hitting that next level or something being considered adequate, the scale on those, everything's 1 to 20, and actually those pop every 2 points to the next visible level. So when you do get a successful upgrade of your poor training facilities to become adequate, it's actually making a 2-point jump. So if we take a 1-point jump on something, we're not even getting it to the next level. And so I would be more than happy to do a little something along those lines, if necessary, as we proceed. Despite the issues we're trying to overcome, we are overcoming them. We're doing just fine. We are progressing. It's good to see. Kato is also starting to show signs of improvement here, just a little bit at least. And Ben Scory is making progress on his decision making, and he continues to grow on his off the ball. In fact, his decision making has had a full +3 from last season till now. And between that determination and decision boost, he's up to a 1.5 star as a wide midfielder now. He is making some sort of progress. We are training him in a specific way, and this is that specific training showing up and giving him kind of the primary area of growth. It looks like he's also added a point in, is it vision or teamwork? Those were both 6s before. Oh, strength as well is up to a 7. So yeah, little bit here and there coming up. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. This is the last one where the algorithm could really use that boost. There's not as much FM content out there as a lot of people are just giving up on it. And I could understand the frustrations, but I mean, come on. Football Manager's back, baby. We've got to enjoy it while it's here and support them so that they can, fix it, right? That's what it's going to take. We don't want them to abandon the project. This is the best sports management game on the planet. Or at least it was. They've moved into a new phase, and we want them to be back to their best. So it takes support. Also takes support for me to be able to keep this series going. So please click that like button, leave a comment to help with the algorithm, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.